I'm Dr. Gaby Cora at the National Publicity Summit with Dr. Kenny Handelman. Dr. Kenny, welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're here at the summit. You're an expert in ADHD, working quite a bit with kids.
Yes.
What do you see in your regular day of work?
Well, I see a lot of kids and teens with ADHD who are referred for assessment, and they're often sent in with challenges of doing poorly in school, behavioral issues, sometimes social issues and self-esteem issues as well. So it's a wide range of issues that come into the office.
Age groups?
I generally treat kids from 6 to 18, but sometimes we get kids a little younger than 6 when they have more severe problems.
And do parents usually refer them directly or bring them directly to your attention, or is it the school that has mentioned something, or one of the parents is concerned? What is it that usually happens?
Most of the time people are referred because of a school concern. That's the most common issue, that teachers say, we're worried about your son or your daughter, we suggest you get them assessed. But it does sometimes come up from the family physician or the parent as well. I do see a small number of adults for ADHD as well to help them out, but mostly I do see kids and teens.
Well, one of the interesting things that we always see in psychiatry is that sometimes the parents are trying to help their kids cope with some attention deficit, but they are coping with that themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, it really does run in families. It's about 85% genetic or heritable, which is just about as genetic as height. So if you have tall parents, the chance of having tall children is quite high, about 85%. And so when we're sent kids who may have ADHD or do have it, it's often the case that the parents may have traits, may have had it when they were younger, or they may have it right now. And part of what happens, adult ADHD is real. Not that many doctors are familiar with it. And sometimes the best way for me to help the kids and teens with ADHD is to help the parents realize what they're dealing with and help to support them. And that's how I end up seeing many of the adults that treat for ADHD.
How are they surprised when you tell them that maybe they've been dealing with this all their life as well? Or?
Well, for many of them it's a huge relief, right? They start reading about ADHD because of their child.
That's me.
And then exactly, that's me. And then, then their mom says, well, I told you. You're going to get a job just like you, and then you'll know what it's like, right? So sometimes that happens, but then there are other times where they're actually sort of sensitive about it or uncomfortable, and it's going in directions they're not comfortable with, that they've been struggling with. And so there's a wide range, and I certainly approach it as carefully and most supportively as possible.
So what can parents do?
Well, I think it's really important. I use a 7-step approach. Number one, parents really need to be educated. They need to know what ADHD is, what's going on. They need to keep up to date with research and everything else. Number two, they have to really make sure their child gets the right diagnosis. Because sometimes people go to the doctor and 5 minutes later they have a diagnosis of ADHD and a prescription for medication. And that's not a proper assessment, and that's not proper treatment. Step 3 is parenting strategies. Parents don't cause ADHD. Parents often feel guilty about it and worry about it, but they don't cause it. But what can happen is they can be part of the solution. So parents need to use strategies that work for ADHD kids. Step 4 is school strategies. There are specific things that help kids to thrive in the classroom, even if they have ADHD. Step 5, medication treatment. It plays a role. It's not step number 1, but it does play a role, and it can be very helpful. Step 6 are alternative treatments. There are many treatments with research behind them, and it's worth adapting, worth using. And then step 7 is treatment integration, which is really adapting over time, dealing with other conditions that may be there, like anxiety or behavioral issues or learning disabilities, and kind of pulling it all together.
Lovely. Is there anything that you'd like to go a little bit more in depth as we speak?
Well, I think it's important to talk about alternative treatments because many parents want to use alternative treatments, and most doctors don't feel comfortable with it, right? We're sort of taught in medical school, randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trials, pharmaceutical, FDA approved, etc., right? And what's happening is there's more and more research about diet impact with ADHD, omega-3 fish oils for ADHD, even neurofeedback for ADHD. So it is important for parents to get the facts, and adults with ADHD, get the facts, learn about this stuff, and consider some of the other approaches as part of a comprehensive treatment plan. And hopefully they can find a doctor who's open to discuss that with them as part of an overall treatment.
Tell us about your book.
My book's called Attention Difference Disorder, and the idea is to focus on differences rather than deficits. And by that I mean, if I'm seeing a 6 or 8-year-old and I say, you've got ADHD, there's a disorder in your brain, you're diseased, you don't think right, whatever, to me that's extremely negative and unnecessarily so. The real strategy is, by using the 7 steps, is to treat ADHD, get those negative symptoms out of the way, and then help to build on people's strengths, develop their passions and abilities, and then really, people with ADD think differently, view the world differently, and if you go back through history over time, it's really the people who thought differently who really changed our world. So we need to help nurture that in kids, teens, and adults with ADHD.
Just a bit of guidance in all this difference that could really help the kids, particularly self-esteem issues that may be affected if they don't feel that they can, or that they think like the rest of the kids do, or that they understand things the way the rest of the kids do.
Yeah.
How can people get a hold of your book?
It's on Amazon, it's in all the e-readers, bookstores.
And what's your website?
My website is attentiondifferencedisorder.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much.